am terrified to be here, to say these words, and to not say others. I'm terrified of having to speak, but even more terrified to stop speaking. And that has to happen in 17 minutes, 32, 31, 30 seconds. Let me be absolutely clear. I'm not here to start a TED Talk. I'm here to finish one. Because, well, let's be honest, it's easy to start something, but it is a lot harder to reach the end. So perhaps the only logical thing to do is to begin at the end. The end. Thank you. I am terrified of endings. Things ending up, meeting their ends, only having the ends left on a loaf of bread at home. It's the end of the line. I am today's ending researcher, but I will never reach the end of the research. So in a way, this talk will be my thesis paper. I'm uniquely qualified because some would say I'm the ending researcher who just never finished. In Danish, we have a special word, efternyler. That is a word for a child who comes late in their parents' life, and it's usually the last one. A nøler is someone who takes their time and doesn't necessarily reach their destination at the same pace as others. You have the one who's late, the one who comes after him, and then there's me, the efternyler, or the raisin at the end of a sausage. And I am that raisin at the end of a sausage, because in the old way of making sausages, the raisin holds everything together in the end, and adds a little bit of sweetness to the last bite. Though I don't particularly like the raisin part. Now, endings themselves can be, endings can be the top of your head and the bottom of your feet. They can stretch from one end of your fingertips to the other, be an empty glass, one filled to the brim. They mark birthdays and dates, weeks, years, time, amounts, stories, and distances. It's where one thing ends and another begins. It's not that endings are serious. It's that they're everywhere. They happen all around us, constant, never-ending, and make us aware of things changing from one status quo to another. A good ending is satisfying. It provides us with emotional closure and gives fulfillment rather than confusion. But a good ending does not always have to be happy. If you want to find happy endings, well, you need only peek inside a dodgy massage parlor to realize that not all happy endings are happy endings. A good ending must feel earned and appropriate for the story's journey. For me, a good ending is when the hero defeats the villain, and we all live happily ever after. And it's in the satisfaction that you get when you get to check something off your to-do list. It's in getting dessert and not having to do all the dishes. And it's that feeling you get once you've had the flu, where you can finally breathe through both of your nostrils. And it's in giving homemade gifts, because it only becomes a gift once you finish it. And it isn't finishing strong, like running a marathon and collapsing after the finish line. Not before. You see, at some point, the journey will stop. Even this talk has to end. And that's what makes you listen. The best endings make room and add meaning. They give space for new beginnings, new chapters, whilst creating purpose. But if endings are so good, why am I scared of them? Let's talk about the bad endings. Bad endings are those that come before we're prepared for them. Though for many, not knowing an ending is a lot scarier than the ending itself. Of endings, let's start with the worst one. Death. Now let's get that out of the way, but as a close second. When no more biscuits are left in the biscuit tin, there is no worse feeling than looking forward to a sweet treat all day, only to discover there are none left when you go to open the container. For that reason, I never eat the last biscuit in the biscuit tin. Because if I never eat the last one, I never run out of biscuits, right? It's the fear of the unforeseen. The fear that you forgot, or that others forgot you. And in particular, the fear of something emptying, and as such being over. Especially if you weren't prepared for it, and just wanted it to last for a little longer. When an end is no longer postponable, we can fill the biscuit tin anew. But there are biscuit tins that we will never get to add to, and recipes we will never try. But part of the recipes that we become in life live on in new ways, with new additions, that we will be able to experience and share. My friend told me about a horrible day she had. Heat wave, headache, hungry, the workday from hell, and a flat bike tire forcing her to walk home. The only thing that got her home was the thought of the ice cream she bought the day before, waiting for her in her freezer. Step by step, that thought carried her the whole way. So she gets home, opens the freezer, only to find her boyfriend had eaten all of it. All of it. Had there just been one scoop, she would have been happy, could have cooled down, but every single bite was gone. Always leave the last bite of something, even if you eat all the rest. Because even if you can eat an entire tub of ice cream, well, chances are somebody else needs that last scoop a lot more than you. Don't rush somebody else's ending before they're ready. If you do, like in my friend's case, it might not only be the ice cream that's finished, but the relationship that ends as well. Because it hurts when things are over, and we didn't want them to be. It is the lost potential that scares me the most about endings. An end represents the loss of possible potential outcomes. You close the door, and numerous potentials get stuck on the other side. But the worst ending is never beginning in the first place, thus not allowing for an ending to be possible at all to begin with. We can be so scared of endings that we don't initiate, create, or participate solely to avoid it. Please don't mourn an ending before it's time. If you do, it will rob you of the adventure before it. And I know a lot of people fear the blank page. I don't really, but I fear the last page. I love starting. I can start 10 things at once because I'm terrified an idea will disappear if I don't grab it immediately. And once something has begun, I never want it to end. In a way, it's a lot like falling in love. The beginning might be uncertain, but once you're in it, you don't want to be anywhere else. You do not want it to stop. But here's the difference. In love, we don't mourn the relationships that never happened. In creativity, we do. Every time that you finish a project, you're also ending 10 other possible versions of it. 10 ideas, 10 futures, gone. Endings feel cruel because they close possibilities. But in truth, we don't really know when something ends or what it eventually ends into. Endings aren't good or bad. They make space for something new. And that's why finishing matters. Not finishing everything, but finish something, so that any unfinished business doesn't become a bad ending simply by not being the outcome that you initially intended. Even I make sure to do this. Terrified of endings, as I might be. We need to spend our time wisely, because one day, we won't be able to anymore. My grandmother, now she was a master of time management, especially on the phone. There were never any awkward goodbyes, no looming discussion of who should hang up first. When she felt the conversation was over, she'd just hang up mid-sentence, done. The first time you would call back worried, like, did something happen? No, nothing happened. She was finished. Did you have more to say? No? Well, if you didn't have anything new to talk about, she'd do it again. It might seem rude, but it was genius. She might hang up the phone, but the first thing she always did was to shower you in cheek kisses and make sure you were never in doubt about how loved you were. My grandma knew that life and time are precious commodities, but she'd rather be in your company than on your phone line. And when you live to be 89, you get to experience so many endings that I guess you don't have time to waste on wasteful goodbyes. So live life like my grandmother and spend your time and endings with what matters. Don't create misery by only focusing on the ending itself. If you do, it will rob you of the adventure. Try instead to get as far on your journey as possible. As comfortably, as fun, or as fulfilled as you can. All things end. It's how much we can add to our and others' journeys that count. We all heard, don't do tomorrow what you can do for today. And I am a master of moving things forward for tomorrow. But what if tomorrow never comes? What if there's a snowstorm? You get sick, or the day otherwise isn't an option? Then you won't get to do any of the fun stuff you wanted, because the day would be over. It's because things end that we do anything at all. But on the other hand, if everything was infinite, there'd be no reason to do anything, because we could always do it later. There would be no point in completing anything. Endings aren't just scary, they're necessary. An ending gives a journey meaning and purpose. If there was no end to things in life, life wouldn't feel as precious and, well, it wouldn't be a life at all. The beauty of knowing when your ending is that you can treasure the journey. For me, and this talk, that has been knowing that rehearsals, they ended after yesterday. And my talk now will end in one way or another. Sometimes the best thing that you can do when afraid is to face your fears. My goal was not to hold a TED talk today. During these almost 18 minutes, it appears that I have. And in doing so, I believe that my goal to finish one has been achieved. What is life without death and biscuits? Both are unbearable when they end. But since finite ends still scare me, the TEDxLinz team has helped me purchase a mountain, well, maybe not a mountain, but a very big jar of biscuits. So during the break, I would like to invite all of you to join me for a biscuit, maybe a smaller talk. Just don't eat the last biscuit, or there won't be any left. Or well, actually, do eat the last biscuit if you are able. There are a lot. Good things never end. Until they do. Thank you.